Somehow, my daughters fell in love with Formula One. I don't know how or why, but I'm not arguing. They may not know wheel, but does anyone?
Hi, and welcome to We Don't Know Wheel F1. I'm Anne.
And I'm Grace.
And I'm
We've got
Sarah.
special guest, Sarah.
And Jamie is supposedly joining us at some point.
And what a day to celebrate.
You know it's a good race when all the girlies want to be on the pod.
And Grace is even on vacation, going to the beach, and chose to call in to be on the pod.
I'm here briefly, but then I'm leaving for the beach. Even Carlos Sainz cannot keep me from the sun.
You need an ice bath for when you get back.
Yeah. Yes, obviously. Actually, my friend that I'm staying with was like, I have an ice bath, because I was telling her that Jamie said we should do some ice bath like joke pictures. And she was like, I have an ice bath. I can make you one. And I was like, well, no, we're going to Photoshop me to be a rubber ducky, you know?
Oh my gosh. I hear that all the celebrities are actually just really into ice baths, like non-athletes.
I like
just
an
rich
ice bath.
people.
When I go to the spa, I like to have an ice bath.
It's very
Actually,
much
that's true. Yeah, when I went to the spa too, it was our favorite room, was the cold room. And there was nobody else in there.
Yeah, it's good for you, except for actually, I think that they don't see the same benefits for female athletes from ice baths that they do for men. But let's not get into the science of it all. Yes, I'm just here to say it's finally paying off to be a Carlos Sainz fan. I always knew he was the smartest and very fast, and I love to see it. It's also very weird to see Ferrari, like, I feel like they're almost like, what are we supposed to do about this? Only Fred seems like, yeah, Carlos, you could be number one too. Anyone can be number one. Charles is like, he's the most confused.
Carlos is claiming number one. I'm loving it personally. I will say I watched some Ferrari content. A guy was like talking about how Carlos is clearly the number one driver for Ferrari now. And let me tell you, the comments, very dark. A lot of pushback in the comments. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, okay, it's an interesting thing,
he
right?
won one race. I don't know how you can say he's the number one driver now. It's always Charles, chosen by God.
Chosen by God for Ferrari. And it's just like, but Carlos is who they actually need.
Welcome, Jamie.
Hi, are we recording? I missed the hot take. Wait, film
dropped right into the middle of it.
Also check the DMs for the latest photo that I just put together of Grace.
Oh,
it's pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty.
We will be posting that
on the pod Instagram later.
I feel like you could have done a little color correction to make Grace a little yellower.
Thanks, Sarah.
I did like quick. Wait, okay, Miss Grace's hot take.
It is paying off to be a Carlos girly. He's the number one guy in this group. I said Ferrari doesn't seem like they know what to do with it. Fred's the only one. Charles, he's lost. Charles is like, what? I'm not the predestined.
He's reeling.
I'm supposed to be the number one guy in this group.
Okay, question for the crew: if Charles was in the same position that Carlos was this race, do we think that Charles would have pulled off the win like Carlos did?
Oh, that is too deep, James. I can't get there.
I think it's a fair question, though.
It's an interesting question.
Well, I think part of it is, would Carlos play the same team game that Charles did?
Sure.
And part of
Sure.
it is, would Charles be smart enough to give Lando the DRS to protect himself at the end? And
Yeah.
I don't know if either
I
of those things
do-
would happen.
I know. I have. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm just obsessed with the way those two, like, they just trust each other in a way that no other driver does.
Mm,
Carlando?
Carlando.
Yeah.
Their Instagram posts after the race were so cute.
So cute.
The
Oh my
And
god.
Carlando of
The
it all.
post-race hug. Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah.
Cutest
Yeah,
hug
did you wait?
between
No,
drivers that
okay.
I've
I just
seen.
have to say the clip of Carlos going from hugging Charles to hugging Lando. He
Mm.
was thinking about hugging Lando while he was hugging Charles. He was like
Stop.
walking towards Lando mid hug. He was like fully was like, yes, okay. You
There,
can
Well, just the
there.
way
now.
they stopped, looked at each other, and then just gave the giant hug.
I was a little embarrassed for Charles.
Stop.
I know it was a Carlando one too. I mean, when was
Yeah.
has that ever happened?
No.
This a first in the Carlando friendship?
It's never been a 1-2, but they have done a 2-3, I think.
Yeah,
I
they
think
have been on the
so.
podium together. I think in Carlos's first year at Ferrari, maybe.
At Monaco?
I don't
think-
know.
Yeah.
There
Don't
was
say
a-
things if you don't know if they're true.
They have had multiple
Canceled.
podiums together, I think.
that
We don't
is-
know, Wheel.
We don't know. Wheel. I also. I had another thought, but go ahead.
Yeah.
It
No, let's
escaped
hear
me.
it. What?
I had it and then I lost it. Carlando 1-2 finish.
Oh, I'll give you my hot
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Post race, Anne sent some grainy video of Carlos and a girl at a
Oh
club.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
looked
that's his
so
supposed girlfriend,
friendly.
isn't it?
No, he
Ye-
had his arm around her, holding hands, interlocked fingers.
This is what's
And
her
you know
name,
what?
right? This is the girl.
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
This is the girl. This is the Scottish girl. Honestly, the girlies on Tumblr are unhinged about it. They've lost their freaking minds. And I'm like,
Really?
he's winning. Whatever is happening is working. Let him cook.
He
Leave
looks so
him
happy, and they
alone.
look so happy together.
Yeah.
Is it
This
like
little-
because he's actually in a relationship now?
maybe that's what it is.
Is
They
it
were all
because
like,
he's
we all
not with
knew everything
Issa?
with Issa was fake.
Well, because everything with you was fake, it felt like more detached from reality because you
Okay,
never
well,
actually saw them together.
Stop. Yes, a lot of the girlies are like big Issa fans, and they're
Mm.
like, he said he protects love. He said he's very private, and he's not being private now. What is it? And I'm like, what is happening? It's so unhinged. I really can't get into it because I'm like, I don't know any of these people. How could I possibly have these strong of feelings about their lives?
Also,
That is
people are
wild.
allowed to decide to act one way in one relationship and differently in a different relationship if that's what the two people in it decide.
Mhm.
Anne's out here really being kind and logical.
Sorry,
And
I
that's
spend all day
Esther
with high
Perel.
schoolers, and you have to try and teach them logic because they don't use it yet.
Because otherwise they end up like the unhinged girlies on Tumblr.
Yes.
But truly, when Carlos sang in the car that it was his first smooth operation
know, I
at Ferrari, I
know.
was like,
Oh,
this man is embarrassing and I love him.
Actual goosebumps.
He's
I
on
couldn't believe he
Tumblr.
actually started singing too.
I know, yeah. Who was that Fred that was singing back, or who was that was singing with him?
It's probably his engineer, Ricky.
Oh my-
Ricky?
Is that his engineer?
I think so.
Yeah.
The fact
Well,
that
there's
they
another
sang
clip-
together.
Yeah. There's
Chef's
another
kiss.
clip I
He
heard
said-
today where his engineer Ricky was like crying on the radio.
Oh
I mean,
whoa.
it's so wildly impressive that he won the first non-Red Bull race of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Let's
stand.
talk about Red
He's-
Bull.
fast these days. Okay, on that topic, I gotta go. I'm going to the beach. I love
Have
you
fun
all.
at the beach. We'll
Thank
miss
you for
We
letting
love you.
me dip in.
Bye.
I'm assuming we've only covered the Carlos win at this
You
point.
came in like
That
2
is
minutes
it.
after we started.
Okay,
It's all good.
perfect. Perfect.
I did have a student come up to me today and ask if I was in mourning because Red Bull had lost.
Are
No.
you really that big of a Red Bull fan?
They just know
No.
that I like Red Bull and I like Checo.
Oh,
Do you
sure.
like Red Bull or do you like Checo? Because
You
I
like
think there's a
Checo.
difference.
I
Or
like
do you
Checo
like
more.
interesting racing?
Sarah, you are spitting fire tonight.
I am obsessed. Keep it coming. Because that race, wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So good.
Truly on the edge of my seat the whole time.
I do have to speak my truth here for
Please
a
do.
moment,
Please do.
which is that I only watched the race in 30,
Ooh.
but I watched the full qualifying. I watched like the
Good
first
choice.
maybe 45 minutes of the race, and then I was like, this is about to be really boring. So then I switched to the race in 30.
Oh
You
man.
watched the boring part.
Oh man. You gotta go back. Well, now
But
you
they
know
put
last-
the interesting things in
the
the race
last-
in 30.
The last
Sure.
20 to 30 minutes was the crazy part.
They showed almost all of it.
Yeah. Well, and if you already had
You should have
opened
started with the
Instagram-
race in 30
yes.
and then
Yeah.
after
real
the second safety
problem-
car.
Yeah.
The real
Then you
problem is
switch.
that I opened Instagram midday.
Yes.
I was at work. I couldn't watch the race live. And I was bored and I wasn't thinking. I should have put like some sort of lock on Instagram. Literally the first post
Mhm.
in my feed was Carlos
Yep.
and his selfie with Lando. And it was like,
Aw.
1-2, baby. And I was like, okay, well,
Well,
it's really hard to be excited about watching a full race.
yeah,
You already know who's on the
That's-
podium.
that's true. Very
But-
understandable.
That's okay.
I very deliberately, until I finish watching the race, I like avoid Instagram at all costs. Like I don't even open the app. Nothing. Like
I'm usually pretty good at it, but I think it's because I was at work. I was really bored.
I also feel like, JV, you were very careful about not going on our text thread until
Uh-uh.
you've watched the race.
Yep. I texted as
Because
soon
we
as I
will not
finished.
hear from you until you watch it, and then we get everything.
I just didn't know if there were going to be any spoilers. I think Grace asked for no
We did spoil
spoilers.
maybe a
There
little
were
bit.
only spoilers once Grace had finished, and Sarah
Yeah.
and I had. Well, Sarah had seen the results at work, and I had watched.
Yeah.
So
So
I
next
I joined
time-
partway through because I just didn't wake up till then.
I know. I like basically since quali, because I watched, it was like a multi-segmented race that I watched. So I watched the first part of quali for like the first 30 minutes, and then
There's
I
a
just-
big delay.
yeah, so I kind of skipped through the delay, all
Yeah.
that. Quali was so fun and entertaining. Lance's spin out in the beginning.
Epic.
Epic. They should make like a gif of that.
It was epic. I'm glad he was okay. I guess he was not fully okay because he didn't race.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
didn't
part
ever
of
hear
me
on that.
that wonders if he is just reaching the point where he's just embarrassed about stuff like this happening and being like, I think I want to be done. And so he
Thinking
didn't
about his
want to
tennis
race.
career.
And thinking about his tennis career.
I don't
I don't know.
think
Lance
that's
Stroll is
actually the
growing on
case,
me.
But
Oh, unpopular opinion. Let's
I
hear
don't
more.
know. I don't know. I just think he's growing on me a little bit.
Mhm.
He seems fine.
what a ringing
there.
endorsement.
He's not a great driver though.
Yeah, for me, he's just kind of there. He provides a little entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we I feel like there's so much to talk about today.
I don't have a list.
I don't have a list either.
And do you have a list?
Got
No
the
list? Okay, let's talk about Liam.
Oh,
lost it.
Liam
fun.
is
What?
winning the hearts and minds of the world, you guys.
Okay.
I did
Literally-
today.
Oh,
I don't know
yes.
if you guys
Rumors-
follow AlphaTauri. I follow AlphaTauri now because of Danny.
Same.
And every comment on every post is like, if you don't give Liam a seat next year, we will be in an uproar. Give Liam a seat next year. Liam's the best. Get rid of Danny to get Liam. It's
The
dark.
rumors that I'm seeing are that Yuki's going to be announced in Japan, and that Danny's
What
going
do
to
you
be
mean?
announced later
What do
for
you mean?
next year.
Like they're gonna announce that he's gonna be on for next year.
And Danny's later? You mean they're still
They're
deciding?
going to announce Danny. They're just waiting till a later date because they want Yuki to have the spotlight in Japan.
No, they're still deciding. They're gonna see how Liam does. That's my prediction.
I
Liam's
really
gonna be
thought
so good. I mean, I'm a fan. I think he seems really great. I like that he's from New Zealand. He's a cutie.
you
He's
see the story about
young.
him inviting his
hungry.
parents.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
So sweet.
I want to see him on Drive to Survive for sure. That's gonna be my
Same.
favorite episode.
Yes.
Same.
Maybe. I don't know.
I know. I feel so torn because
Yeah.
he is having such a good rookie season. I saw someone post like he's earned points before Logan Sargent has. Yikes.
The Legally
In a
Blonde
worse
meme
car.
was my top meme of the week, I think.
Which meme?
The Legally Blonde meme, where it's like Logan
What, like it's
Sargent
hard?
being like, you already earned points, and Liam Lawson's like, what, like it's hard? I'm just saying, women in STEM, women in sports are changing the whole game.
I'm just gonna say, out of the 3 students who really like Formula One at school, 2 of them are girls.
Love.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So where did Liam finish? Was he 12th?
No. Well, he got points. He was
he
9th.
No,
did?
he was 9th. 9th.
He was 9th. Oh wow, okay. I totally
Matt
lost
got
track of
10th.
that.
That was
Hey,
the one
Matt!
thing. The one thing Dad texted me about the race is, "Hey, Matt got a point."
Was that his first point? He's on my
so.
team.
I think
He's
it was
gotten
his
points, but
first
it's
time finishing ahead of Hulkenberg, or close to.
Is it actually?
Nico has been the #1 Haas driver all season. Yeah.
So things really got shaken up.
Things really got shaken up. Max was trying to pass Magnussen for quite a while. That was fun to watch.
That was like I was living in an alternate universe. I was like, what is actually happening right now?
So much fun though.
It was so fun. I was like, this is what I think everyone's been waiting for this season. Like at least me, I feel like I can speak for all of us. I was wondering like, okay, is this going to be a full Red Bull season? There just seems like there's no hope for anyone getting around Max. So I think we've all been ready. We've all been waiting this. And now that it's here, I couldn't be more happy.
Yeah. So Anne, could you tell us why Red Bull sucked this week?
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
that the track didn't work for their car, or are there bigger issues with the car?
I feel like I'm under investigation now.
No, I just think that you would know better than either of us.
I definitely don't know. I don't know any of that. And I was actually going to ask the same thing.
Pretty certain you've read articles. Tell us what the article said.
It's definitely track specific.
Oh, sorry.
In my opinion.
Lightning. I got lightning.
Ooh.
You also are like just descending into darkness, Sarah.
I know. I'm trying to decide if I should turn on a light. I'll turn on a light. You guys keep talking.
I would suggest that. So it's definitely track specific, where with Singapore, because it's all about getting the right qualifying lap because it's so difficult to pass, the key to getting a good quali lap is heating up your tires correctly, and that's the thing that Red Bull is not great at. They're really, really good at maintaining tire temperature and not wearing out tires over a race distance, but not good at quali when it comes to tire temperature. And So they like that because of that, their quality was not very good. Everyone kind of struggled on the hard tire. It's just kind of like very slippery for basically most of the teams. And with the way the Red Bull did their strategy, they were trying to make that work for a really long time when everybody else is on mediums. And so they just kind of lost pace with
Okay,
that.
but to be fair, I'm pretty sure that on the last lap of the race, Carlos's hards were like 40 laps old.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
I also I will say that both safety cars could not have come at a worse time for Red Bull.
It does seem, yeah, that seems
Because the
accurate.
first safety car came exactly when everybody was ready to stop. If they were on mediums and switching to hards. But
Yep.
Red Bull couldn't do that because if they put on mediums at that point, there's no way it would make it to the end, and they didn't want to do a 2-stop. So everybody else got a free stop, and they did not. And with the second safety car that came out, they had switched their tires literally the lap before, and then the safety car came out. They did not get to benefit from it. So I think if they had waited one more lap for the second safety car, or if the first safety car hadn't happened, Max would have been in the fight for the podium.
You
That
think
would have
so?
been
Because where did he finish? Was he 6th?
He was fifth.
Fifth.
5th.
I mean, he was
Yeah.
6th before George.
And it was all the drama
did
with
it.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about like the last 10 laps.
That
That
was
was
nuts.
Crazy,
I
crazy.
think we're just not
crazy.
used to having a race where we don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so long since every
That's a
race
good
this
point.
season has been like, and Max is fully 30 seconds ahead of
Yeah.
car number 2. Like,
Yeah.
Or Checo's in front by like 5 seconds and Max isn't really getting that much closer to him, or Max would have been passed him
Yeah.
already.
yeah.
Those are the only two things that have happened.
Yeah. We're basically just like excited to see who's gonna get second or third.
Yeah, which is also
Yes.
fun.
It is fun. And the midfield, like we've been talking about this whole season. It's been
Yeah.
a great season for all the other teams.
Yeah, now it's
Going on.
just we get to see the pack behind Red Bull in front of Red Bull.
So the last 10 laps, we have Mercedes pitting, or what was that? That was the last 20 laps. Mercedes pitted on
Yeah, I
the
think
was that the
so.
last
Yeah, I think there was about 20.
Yeah. Because I saw it in the race in 30.
Okay, perfect.
They showed that. That was an
I-
edit.
I honestly want to go back and watch the race in 30 again because there were so many different highlights that happened. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a good one. It
watched
was a
the
really
race
good
very
one.
good.
Okay, yeah. So we had Mercedes. Sorry. Can you hear the dinging? Okay, cool. I'm getting text messages and they're dinging and they're
I
distracting
got
me.
sirens over here, so
We're just
I,
a hot mess
I don't know what to tell
today.
you.
So we have Mercedes coming in. They're like, okay, we're gonna just go for it for the medium tires. They drop down to like 6th place. They've dropped down behind
Yeah.
Leclerc.
I think it was, was it 5th and 6th? Or 4th and 5th?
I think it was
No,
Oh,
because
wait,
I
so
think
there
they
would
had
have
to
been,
pass more than one car. That would have only been one car because they ended up
well,
third
so
and
there
fourth.
was Carlos, Lando,
They had to pass Charles.
I think it was just 4th and 5th.
4th and 5th. But there was a substantial gap. It was like 15 seconds.
Yeah, because there was a big gap because they had both been in front of Charles.
Yes.
And then there was a big gap between Charles and Fernando.
Sure,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
and Fernando got out, didn't he? Fernando stopped, his car stopped working.
I don't remember
That
exactly
was not
what
in the
happened to
racing
Fernando.
thirty.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
But
I swear that something
if he
happened to
did
Fernando
finish,
too.
it was way out of the points.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
It was a rough day for Fernando.
Yeah. I
Oh.
want to say
really
he
rough.
like paused at some point. I don't know. There's so much that happened in the last
He
20
had a
laps.
really bad pit stop.
That's
He
horrible.
had like right? Was that him?
I
The
know.
15-second pit stop or something crazy.
Maybe.
Oh, that's what
Yes.
it was. Yes,
Yes,
they had
that's
like
what it was.
carjack on the front. Something like
Yes. Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
But
and
yeah,
that
sucks.
was a pit stop after he had already needed to serve a 5-second penalty, and then that happened.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So we have the chaos of that, and then we have Mercedes coming in, changing out their tires, and then they're working their way up the field. So here's my
Yeah.
question. I know everyone was like, okay, Leclerc is gonna like try and defend. I don't know, I don't know Wheel, but I didn't feel like he was defending. Hot take. What do we think?
He had old hard tires, and they had new mediums. I don't think he really had a chance. I think he did what he could. In the
Thrown his elbows
situation.
up a little more. I was like,
Let's start some drama between the Ferrari boys.
as if there isn't any already.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. Did that look like defending to you? Or did that look like fake defending for the camera? I don't know. It's hard to
Also,
say.
Hard to say.
Hard to say.
Inconclusive.
how do you think it would have turned out differently if Ferrari had pitted Leclerc once they saw the Mercedes go in? Because, I mean, track position didn't really end up helping them at all, except it slowed them down a little bit trying to get to Carlos.
Yeah, I think that is what Ferrari people, specifically Charles people, have been saying, because they could have pitted him and then he could have actually gone for the win.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
But it's
I
like
don't
they were
know.
choosing to protect Carlos instead.
Yeah. Which to me, overall, seems like a smart decision. You already have a car that's P1. Why would you risk doing this other thing?
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then he's going to get like no defense. So then there's a higher chance of a Mercedes actually winning.
Yeah.
In my mind. But what do I know? I'm just a
I don't
Carlos
know.
fan.
Also, I don't know how many. I don't think it slowed them down for that many laps to have to pass Charles.
I
So
don't
it
know.
would
I
be
only
like
watched the race in
one or
30.
two more laps that Carlos and Lando have to defend against the Mercedes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Lando was the real
Yeah.
teammate.
I was gonna say,
Yes.
Right?
Lando was that's what I'm saying. But
He
also
was
they have a bond. They have
the
like a
ultimate
connection.
wingman. Lando, full wingman mode.
I know. And you could just tell they looked at each other when they got out of the cars and it was like, I got you. I got you.
I love you.
So
I love
sweet.
you. I got you. You're my mate.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like Lando picked up on it too. Like when they
Absolutely.
were driving.
Oh, Lando
Did
knew
I
what was
make that
going
up?
on.
Lando was like, he's
Absolutely.
backing into me because he wants me to have DRS.
I don't know if he
I don't
said
know.
it, but you could
Maybe he
tell that
didn't
like
say it.
he knew it. The funniest
He
part,
knew.
he knew.
Yes,
One
he
heart, one
knew.
mind. He knew.
Carlando.
Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose.
Clear eyes, full heart,
Yes.
Carlando.
But it was such a Ferrari strategy moment where they were on the radio and they were telling Carlos like Lando's only 0.7 behind, and Carlos was like,
Hurry up, Carlos.
I know.
Yeah.
It's on purpose. I know what I'm doing.
He's like, yes, and he's my homie. We got this.
Lando would never pass me.
I know. Okay, the announcers at one point were like, it's all they always are, what do they say? They have like these little taglines like it's, gloves are on when they're in the car, yes, they're friends off the track, but on the track,
Once the visor's on.
yeah, once the visor's on, it's like friendship over. And I was like, honestly, they proved you wrong. I don't think so. But okay, so in all seriousness, do we think that if Norris had the capability, if his car had it, do you think he would have passed Carlos?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do.
Okay, because he's never won, has he?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he had it because he was also on really old hard tires.
Mhm.
So I do think at some point he was like, it's just a smarter decision to defend, help Carlos get the W,
Mm-hmm.
and not crash my car. That's what I think was
Mhm.
going on. I don't know. What do I
Yeah.
know?
What do I know? What do we know?
It didn't seem like he was trying to overtake him, really, did
No.
it?
No, not at all. I was just curious in our
Yeah.
alternative universe that we're living in right now.
I-
if we think
I'm sure he
that-
was. I'm sure he would have done it, but
Right. I think if Lando had any opportunity where Carlos made any sort of mistake or
true. Yeah. If Carlos had had
Mm.
a lockup or an
yeah,
issue,
Ooh.
he
Then-
would like Lando would have jumped at it.
yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh.
But Carlos just felt like he was in control of that race the
Fully.
whole time.
Yeah, did he even lock up? I don't remember them saying
Mm-mm.
anything about any
And he
lockups.
led first lap to last lap.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The only person probably besides Max this season. Not probably, he is.
Yeah, because Checo's when Checo won Saudi Arabia.
Checo. True.
When Checo won Saudi Arabia, I think he led first lap to last lap, but I don't know. He had pole for sure.
Insane. Never thought I would be seeing that this
Insane.
year.
Should we
Makes
talk
it-
about George,
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
our good boy, George,
I can't believe.
our
I
fallen
can.
hero, fallen soldier?
One of my students could not stop laughing about how he had crashed on the last lap.
Oh no.
Like she felt really
No.
bad for him, but she also found it really funny.
I mean, the fact that it's George makes
I
it a
know.
little bit funny. But I felt so bad for him. I could not believe that happened
Ugh.
I know, on the last lap.
on the
And
last
honestly,
lap.
the video was crazy. Like, it looked like he hit a curb or something and like
He
sent his
did.
car flying. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, it looks like there was something straight up on the road
Well, it's
that, like,
and
sent him off.
so he
Yeah.
clipped the wall, but Lando had clipped the wall in the exact same spot right before him.
Okay.
So George was just like following him and did the same thing, but did a little bit harder and then went
Yep.
straight
I
into
see.
the wall instead of turning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lando could have taken himself out too. He just got
Yeah.
lucky.
True. And then Carlos would have really been in trouble.
I know. Because that was like the last.
That
I
would
don't
have
even
been
know.
44 on the podium.
That would have been a
Because he was on
whole
the podium.
in the middle of the podium.
Even
Yeah,
if none of
yeah.
the Mercedes team saw it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have you
no,
seen
that
that
was
online,
nuts.
Sarah?
No, I haven't seen that.
People
What's
are
going on?
unhappy because it looked like hardly any of the Mercedes team members went out to like congratulate him before the podium or to watch the podium
Oh.
Well, they were fixing George's car.
or consoling a bawling George.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
That
It's
is a
like
bummer.
it's been such a rough season.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They should be celebrating
Yeah.
anything, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just a perception. Maybe that wasn't real.
Yeah,
hard
it's hard
to
to tell
think
much how much
that.
is it's hard to tell how much is perception and how much is there really weren't a lot of them
Yeah.
put out.
I did see his post, which was actually very sweet. You know, you guys know I'm a huge Lewis
Yes.
fan.
Yes.
And his post about the weekend was really sweet. He gave a nice little nod to George, his
I was
fallen-
wondering.
fallen
Yeah.
comrade, and just about how they've been like working so hard as a team, and it feels good to get a little something, even if it's like not where they want to be.
Mm,
So
that's
yeah,
really sweet.
always love a Lewis post.
Did you
I
guys
know.
see George's post-race interview?
No,
No.
So I saw the one with like the F1 TV people, but the one with Sky, you can tell he's like barely holding it together from
Mm.
crying. And it's so sad. It's like, okay, you know the interview when he's at Williams and he's just like he has been crying and you can see it and he's basically crying during the interview. It feels sadder than that because he's like holding back more
Oh.
emotions.
Poor guy. I
It
mean,
Oh,
is
man.
rough.
to
I do really
lose
like
it.
George. I like that he's emotional.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
do.
Yeah, yeah, he actually shows emotions. Um,
Is
I
that a
mean,
dig at anyone in particular, Jamie?
no, I don't think so. I'm trying to think of who doesn't. Most of them, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else cries like, who else have we seen break down like George does?
Oh gosh.
I think Danny does it, but he hides it more.
I was like, Alonso, no. I could
No
maybe
way.
see Albon being,
Yeah, maybe. Pierre, maybe?
oh yeah,
Pierre.
Pierre, definitely, especially in context of like his friend that passed away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Max
yeah,
is just either mad or happy-go-lucky.
exactly.
He has two modes. Yeah. Okay. I do. So the post-race interview thing, I think, brings up an interesting question that maybe relates to like the larger world of sports. I think like a lot of athletes have been either trying to or successfully opting out of like media and press stuff.
Mhm.
I know there was like that tennis player a few years
Yes.
ago, Naomi something.
Yes.
Osaka.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm like curious if this is going to be more of a trend with F1 in the future. I could definitely see Lewis doing this. I was thinking about it this week with the Helmut Marko comments,
Yeah.
and we texted this. Well, I don't remember who sent it, but they asked Lewis his thoughts about it, and
Mhm.
I mean, he had a really great response. It was like very eloquent, but also personally, I see that, and I'm like, he's going to be the only driver that you're asking about this, except maybe, well, they're obviously asking Checo, but I'm like,
And they asked Max.
oh, did they ask Max?
What did Max say?
What did Max say?
Not much.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Disappointing.
asking Lewis because they know that Lewis has thoughts, but also
And
personally, I
didn't
think it's kind of
Lewis-
gross. He's the
Mm.
only black driver on the grid.
Mhm.
He has been vocal about these things in the past. Obviously, he has like different kind of campaigns to get more people of color racing, whatever. He's got his own initiatives.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just wonder, it's gonna wear on you to be like the one driver that they're bringing all these questions to.
Mhm.
Didn't Lewis include in his response, like, are you something about asking the other drivers about it? Or am I making that up?
I don't know. I'd have to watch it again.
I thought he did, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I sent that in the group, so maybe you're thinking of my text, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's thinking that too. I mean, how could you not be thinking that?
Totally.
But yeah,
Which-
just
and
curious if you guys
honest-
think that we're gonna have drivers start after like a bad race.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, what would be the consequences if they were like, you know what, I'm not doing press?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
I mean, Max didn't do Drive to Survive for what, 2 seasons?
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's different than the like traditional media that you're expected to do at a race
For
weekend.
sure it is. Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
remember that there's an episode of Drive to Survive when things are really rough with McLaren and Danny is there. And
Mhm.
Danny asks his PR person after the
Yeah.
race, like, how bad is the fine if we don't go do media? And his PR
Yeah.
person is just like, just take a minute and then let's go do this. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
also
know.
another thought is so I saw clips of Checo answering questions about Helmut Marko, and
Oh,
he
interesting.
gives this very like, it's a practice PR response where he
Hand.
talks about how like Helmut Marko apologized to him in person and understood that it wasn't right and they have a personal relationship and he doesn't want to focus on that this weekend and he just wants to talk about the racing. And I just, it was almost hard listening to it because I knew that Checo is in this situation where like he wants to keep his job, he wants to keep racing for the team, and this is the person who gets to decide that. And so, what option does Checo have besides giving the PR response.
Yeah.
It puts him in a really sucky situation.
I know. I think about what Lewis said, like how do we have people in charge like this still who are saying such awful things? Like
Yes.
what kind of like role model is that? Like what kind of picture are we presenting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible. And then to be Checo and have to kind of be the one like cleaning up the mess that this terrible person made is just awful.
And Checo's response was so much better than what Helmut Marko had put out in his apology. That was only a half apology. So then all of the work was falling on Checo to basically be like, it's fine, we're fine.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was sucky. Well, and also
did the FIA give him a little slap on the wrist? I feel like I read that.
Yeah, it was just like an official written
statement.
warning.
Not
it was nothing. It was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, I mean, when you have an 80-year-old Austrian who's a like big name representative of your team, who's so just, like, kind of out of touch with the modern world in a lot of ways, things like this are going to happen. And I mean, Formula One needs to modernize, like everywhere in the world needs to modernize.
Yeah. I was about to get a little political.
Well, I mean, I work at a school that is out in the country, most conservative student body I've ever taught at, most conservative staff population that I've ever taught with. Lovely people all around for the most part. The students that follow Formula One, all of them were immediately like, oh, those comments were horrible. So it's not something that like your political leaning is necessarily going to impact whether or not you think it's racist. It's how in touch are you with the modern world and understanding of race and society?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that I think a lot of young people in the United States right now are talking about how old all of our politicians are. Like just so many members of Congress are just 80 plus.
I was literally teaching in my senior government class today about presidents and like presidential election, and in every single class I was asked like, why are all of our presidents so old? And why are there not younger people running? And how do we not have term limits for Congress or the president?
There we go.
And then Sarah, I'm going to just circle us back to
Please do.
all great points. I want to circle back to that question that you asked about like the mental health of the drivers and what those hard days look like. Like Grace and I have talked about how like when the drivers have a hard day, you could just tell they have their like their helmets on and their visors down.
Yeah.
And I think back to the last Summer Olympics when Simone Biles had all of her mental health issues and she ended up backing out, and how big of a deal that was, but how big of a like statement I think that was on like the mental health of our athletes. So I don't know what's going on in the mental health world. I'm assuming that they have like care of our drivers.
Yeah.
I think that that's a really good question to bring up, because people like George, who that was like an unbelievable loss, like being not like less than a lap away, like a half a lap away from
he's already on the podium in his mind, you know?
And in his mind, he was not only already on the podium, in his mind, he was saying, I should be winning this race. I should have won this race.
Well, he's said that a few times this season. He's had kind of a rough season.
Yeah. At least but was it last season where he was crashing a lot?
I think so.
Okay, that seems
And
like
bled into the season too.
blood is okay. I know that he's
Yeah.
kind of notorious for that, but
Yeah. Well, I think Daniel Ricciardo is a great example of,
yeah,
Mm.
somebody who kind of Simone Biles
yeah.
his way out of a season. Like
Mm-hmm.
he had a rough few seasons with McLaren, and I feel like he's been very open about being grateful for his time off and feeling like it brought him a lot of clarity,
Mhm.
which is very cool. I think we should
Mhm.
like maybe that should just be more normalized. I mean, plenty of drivers have done it without explicitly saying that maybe that's what they're doing. They've retired and come back.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's the reason why they're doing it, but if it is, then I think, yeah, great. Why not? Like, take care of yourself, dude, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would also guess that Formula One is in a spot right now where like most of the teams have a sports psychologist on the team and the drivers will meet with a sports psychologist. But I don't know.
Actually, yes, no. I remember when Danny was at McLaren, I followed them on Instagram and they did a whole like mental health week thing.
Mhm.
And they talked about their like psychologists on staff, which I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is happening 52 weeks out of the year or 1 week out of the year, but it's interesting. They're talking about it, I
Yeah.
guess.
And I also don't know how much it goes like I would guess that some of the drivers meet with the team psychologist and their meeting is kind of just like how do we get the right mindset going into the weekend so we're the most like
How do we get
prepared
you
and
to
on top
feel
of
like
our
a
game?
winner?
And but I would also guess that some of the drivers go in and actually approach it like a lot of us would approach any sort of therapy. And not just focusing on like being mentally prepared and like sharpen your game for the race. And I just like I don't know how many drivers fit into either one of those camps.
I hope it's both. I hope they do
Yeah.
have someone
Yeah.
like mentally preparing them for the race and then also helping them with like the emotions of loss and
Yeah.
I feel like for a lot of them,
high
it's their
caliber.
personal coaches.
Mhm.
Like they
Yeah.
always, they
That.
all have that one guy
Mhm.
or gal. I know Lewis had Angela
Angela.
for a really long
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That seems to be like a very important relationship. I would not be surprised if they were providing that kind of support,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's going back to Danny on that. And if
Mhm.
we're thinking, you know, speculating that that person is providing like some mental health support, did you guys hear about the drama between like Danny and his
Michael
like
Italiano.
yeah, that was
I
like
saw
his
like
old trainer,
one thing
right?
about it, but I
Was there
didn't really
drama?
understand it.
So I
Like
will
really
say
recently there's been drama, right?
yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna shout out to another pod that I listened to, Two Girls, One Formula. And I heard a little snippet on their pod where they were talking about how I think Danny stopped following his old trainer on Instagram.
whoa.
Okay.
And I was like, that's like in our day and age, that is kind of a
That's
statement.
kind of a big deal.
And a bunch
They
of other
broke up.
people. Yeah, I guess a bunch of other people stopped following him too. So who knows?
I thought that he was
This-
with Yuki now.
He is.
He is.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something must be going
Huh.
on there. Huh.
I don't know.
I watched The Quarterback this summer on Netflix. And one of the like 3 quarterbacks that they follow the whole season is Kirk Cousins with the Minnesota Vikings. And they like show him on the show meeting with the team's sports psychologist. And it's Kirk Cousins is just such a like sweet, wholesome Midwestern dad. Like you can tell he like gives his all to everything. But in watching him meeting with the sports psychologist was kind of really funny because a lot of it was just like watching Kirk learn to start to understand like what emotions and having a positive growth mindset are. Because I mean he's just like football
Yikes.
guy.
Hmm.
It's very sweet. It's very wholesome. And it's very interesting to see him meet with the sports psychologist.
Interesting.
Wrong
Yeah.
sport, Anne. Wrong sport.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I would love if any of our listeners know more about that,
Yeah.
please write in because I would like to know more about that too.
Yeah, if there are any drivers listening, please write in about that.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Danny Ricardo, please join us. Tell us about your mental health journey.
Yes.
We'll be
On
Also
reaching out.
say, I listen to Dax Shepard's podcasts a
Oh,
lot, and they are
yeah.
good friends.
I've heard
And
this.
if anybody can be a good friend with Dax Shepard, they have there's a threshold of emotional maturity there, I think, because Dax is a
Yes.
very interesting, deep guy.
Mm.
So that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, at the end of the day, really tough race for George. I do
Yeah.
I feel for him. That I can't even imagine. Like, I'm sure he's still grieving that today. Like,
Mhm.
can't imagine.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's got to be the hardest thing, which is, I think this would be like a sports psychologist thing, is like, how do you then put this week out of your head, get ready for the next race, and like
Yeah.
reset your
Yeah.
mind? That's
Yeah.
a sports
Right.
thing. I've never been a sports girl, so I don't know how you would even begin to do that.
But yeah, how do you process it and live with it, but then also move forward with your life?
Yeah. Refocus. Did
It's
they
like-
have
Having to go through the process of mourning in a crazy accelerated time frame.
Yep. Yeah, it's like how quickly I'm sure they're trying to get Danny's hand healed so he can get back in the car. I don't understand it.
Yeah, is there any news on Danny for the next race? What is the next race?
Yeah, when is the
Liam's
next
officially
race?
doing Japan this
I heard
weekend.
that.
Japan.
It's
Liam's
this
doing Japan.
weekend. Is that a night
Oh.
race again too?
No.
No.
So
No.
the times are really funky. Where
Okay.
like for Minnesota it starts at midnight or something like that.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fun.
I'm gonna stay
On
up
a
till 2 in the
Saturday?
morning watching
On a
it,
Saturday?
Sarah.
Or
Oh,
on a
that's kind of
Sunday.
fun.
If it's midnight
think on a
Saturday, I'm
Saturday.
in. Oh wait, actually, never mind. I'm not in.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be home this weekend and Grace and I are hanging out. So
Perfect. You know what you're
Oh.
doing Saturday night.
we know what we're doing. Yes,
Because
we're
that's
Race
10 for you
starts at
guys. That's
midnight.
much more doable.
Oh my gosh. What else happened in the midfield? I mean, there was so much focus on what was happening in the front. Do we
No
know what was
idea.
happening in the midfield?
Checo had a interesting race.
Oh, was it bad?
Well, he
Was it bad?
on the first lap he yeeted Yuki, and then Yuki retired from the race.
Oh yeah.
And
Bye.
then with like
Yes.
15 laps to go,
Poor Yuki.
he yeeted Alex, and then Alex dropped back like 5 places.
Oh,
Okay, I did
man.
miss that. Okay.
Yeah,
He had a rough race.
rough race. He
Not
could've
king of the
been-
streets this week.
And then he got a 5-second penalty after the race, but he was 10 seconds ahead of Liam, who was the next person anyways. So it didn't do anything to change the results.
I would love to talk briefly about predictions for lineups next year, if there's going to be any silly season business, or if this is going to be like a very boring end of the season.
I think the only seats that are unconfirmed are the AlphaTauris and Logan's seat.
Is that true? Everybody else
Yeah.
is confirmed.
Wow.
Because the Ferrari's boys'
Checo?
contracts both end next year. Checo's contract goes through next year. Because when
Oh
he
my
signed
gosh.
after Monaco last year, it was a
Okay.
2-year deal.
Okay, so they'd really
Wow.
have to cut him out
Yeah.
Like,
if they'd have to
pull
pull
a
a Danny
Danny.
Ricciardo.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, they could be going through that process right now, and then in 2 days just announce he's gone. I don't know.
We should call it what it is. Pull a McLaren, because
Yeah,
that
pull
was
a
not Daniel's
McLaren.
doing.
Yes.
And I'm still
I was-
holding it against that team.
Same.
There is
Although
definitely
it was
something...
the best thing that ever happened to him.
I know.
Yeah.
Better
There
sweet.
is definitely something in Checo's contract that says he's not allowed to be sent to AlphaTauri. which is
Well,
interesting.
Well, good for him on that
Yeah.
I
one.
know. I
guess.
don't know
Yeah.
how he got that negotiated.
So Logan,
So it's
things
just
are not
Logan and the
looking good
Tory
for
boys.
Logan. Who's gonna take that Williams seat?
Liam.
You think it's gonna be Liam and Danny
think if he has
and
a good
Yuki are gonna
race-
stay at AlphaTauri?
I think if he has a good race in Japan, that's what it's going to be.
That'd be fun. I would love to have Liam on the
Yes.
grid permanently.
Me too.
He
Or-
is far and above a superior choice to Logan Sargent.
Mhm.
Yes.
Poor Logan, just not. It's just not playing. It's not in the cards for him.
It's not in the cards. And you know what? I think it's hilarious that they thought having an American driver was going to increase American sport. I don't know any American fans
Me
who
neither.
enjoy Logan Sargent.
I think the Drive to Survive has done leaps and bounds for getting the US
If
fandom.
you think that
Yes.
American fans are watching Formula One because they want to see American drivers, we could be watching NASCAR.
Absolutely
Ex-
not.
Yeah,
We're
Yeah,
not
we-
watching NASCAR. We're here
Yeah.
for
We're not
the
watching
European
IndyCar.
men.
yeah. If you think that I don't want to turn on the TV and listen to Danny Rick talk, you're crazy.
Oh
You're here. I agree to
It's
that.
true though. I'm like,
true.
because I do think
Yes.
I know that was some of the reasoning. They were like, we're so excited to have an American driver. Americans are finally going to have somebody to root for.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have
Well,
plenty
and
of
that
people
was
to
the
root
whole
for.
thing about trying to get Colton Herta to McLaren because
Is that an
He's-
Indy driver?
yes, an American IndyCar driver.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's never like won the IndyCar championship. And like he usually looks good, but not great. Like he's not winning races all the time. But because he's this like American IndyCar person, they're like, this is a person that's going to get more Americans interested in Formula One.
Here's all
So
I'm going to
stupid.
say. All I'm going to say.
Nothing
I'm gonna
personal
leave it at
against
this.
Colton Herta.
If a team is really serious about expanding their audience with a specific choice of driver,
Mm.
then they need to get serious about getting a woman on the grid.
Agreed.
Yes.
That's all I'm
love
gonna
that.
say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm here for that.
Done. Thanks for
Mic drop.
listening.
And yeah. How
don't
are
know.
we?
I think it's
Yeah.
true. If you had a woman driver who was competitive,
Yes.
you
Mhm.
know,
And who is
I
not
know
just
they're
there
out
because she is a
there.
woman.
they're out
Mm.
there, they're coming up. I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was
That's
listening
what
to
I'm
this
excited for.
podcast. There's a Beyond the Grid episode with like Mercedes, essentially talent scout for
Mm.
like they talent scout the Carters and then kind of follow them up through their junior career as well.
Mhm.
And one of the Mercedes youngsters in their young driver program is this girl who's in karting who's just like destroying all the boys.
Amazing.
That's amazing. And I will say, it would not shock me if Mercedes is the team to do it. I think Mercedes is the
Oh,
right team
agreed.
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With Lewis.
Uh-huh.
Lewis as like advisor or something.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see it. I can see it all.
I know. I could see that too. I can't
Yeah.
imagine. Obviously, I can never. I'm like, I can't imagine Red Bull having a female driver. I
No.
can't imagine Ferrari having a female driver.
I mean, I think Red Bull would do it, and
dark.
Ferrari would do it if they got someone who had gone all the way up through the program and who was just like undeniably.
They would
talent.
do it. They would not be the first if
Yeah.
there was a driver on the grid who was a woman who was beating everybody. They would sign her.
Absolutely.
I don't
Yeah.
think they would sign
Yes.
her from F2.
No,
No. Oh, that's a good
I
point.
know.
unless she had
Or
like
are they
Max
still doing
Verstappen
the-
level of talent very clearly.
Is the W Series still a thing? Or did they renamed it F1
No.
Academy?
So W Series like completely folded, and then they started a new thing, which is the F1 Academy.
That's still happening with Susie
Yeah,
Wolf.
yeah.
Yes.
They
I
have one
gotta
more
look
race
into
weekend.
that. I gotta put my money where my mouth is and start following that.
I know. I know. I've been following what's her name? Chadwick.
Mhm.
Jamie Chadwick on is she an IndyCar driver?
She's in the feeder series to IndyCar
Okay.
and had a pretty decent year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to follow their socials. I was like, I'll start
Yeah, that's a great way to do
looking
it.
at
I
their
think.
Yeah.
socials, giving them the likes.
And I definitely
Yeah.
follow the F1 Academy on their socials.
And then we'll be
Oh,
seeing
yeah, cool.
the F1 Academy next year on the grid.
So next year I think all of their race weekends are going to be at F1 race weekends.
Okay. Which is
That's
awesome.
And they're doing one more race weekend this year. I can't remember which track it's going to be at, but they are same track, same weekend as F1.
And is someone filming them? Are they doing some sort of
So they've been putting out like
series?
weekend summary videos, but now there should be a much easier ability to have it filmed and be just out there like F2 and F3 because it's
Yeah.
going to be same track, same weekend.
Yeah, sweet.
That's why that's such a big
Perfect.
deal. And I
Yeah.
am sure Susie Wolf fought really hard to get that.
That's the other thing. Susie
Mhm.
Wolf,
Susie Wolf.
Toto. It's a
Mhm.
perfect.
What a boss.
Yeah. Did
Mhm.
you guys know that Toto's middle name is Christian?
Yes, I did. I love it.
The irony.
I know. I love it so much.
Wow, I did not see that one come in. Just like I did not see this Ferrari finish. The
Oh,
Carlando finish.
The Carlando one too.
Yeah.
For the history books. It is going to be my favorite episode of Drive to Survive next year. I'm calling it now.
Sure.
I feel like my favorite part is seeing how happy Carlos looked afterwards, and in all of the videos that I've seen of like him out partying, where like he cannot keep the smile off his face, and it's adorable.
Yeah.
Yes. Rapid fire Carlos highlights from the weekend. Carlos in the ice bath with the rubber duck. Carlos, after he won the race, crouching down on the front of the car, like whooping everyone up before he like got up to like cheer that he won. Carlos hugging Lando after winning, and obviously everyone seeing their connection and love for one another. Carlos,
I think it was the look before the hug that really got me.
And Carlos singing "Smooth Operator." I mean, it was the epitome. Like Carlos has never been finer. Like fine,
Perfect Carlos weekend.
The perfect Carlos weekend.
And I feel like he feels so happy with himself. Right? I think there was part of him that knew in Silverstone, like he was super happy he won. He also knew that he really lucked out to get that win.
You think so? I'm like already blanking on what that was.
If Charles was in front of him, and if Charles had been given the opportunity to pit, Charles would have won.
I know. TBD on all of the like what's happening in Ferrari now with Charles and Carlos.
TBD, yeah.
Very curious to see what
there
pans
are
out
worse
there.
problems for a team to have than having two really good drivers where you're trying to figure out who is your number one driver. But it does seem to have contributed to a lot of fighting amongst Ferrari fans, which is just gross.
Is crazy.
I know.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Amazing. Couldn't have been a more fun race to watch. I loved it.
Loved it.
So great. Well, I guess we'll see each other in the cherry blossoms of Japan.
Yay.
That's happening this weekend.
This weekend
So
in 5 days.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The fun never ends.
The fun just keeps rolling.
We only have like, I think it's 7 races left. And then it's going to be the winter break.
Oh my gosh.
Is crazy. I feel like this season is going really fast.
And then we have the new Drive to Survive season to look forward to.
Rude.
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
Grace and I are gonna have to force ourselves to put out a podcast episode like once a month or something during the winter break, or we're just not gonna do anything the entire time.
I think we
But
should do
we'll
some
see.
fun. Yeah, we could look forward to doing some fun, trying to
Yeah,
get
you
some
guys-
fun
Yeah.
We
interviews.
did fun ones last year.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks. Yeah,
Well,
thank you guys
ke-
for having me.
Yeah, everybody keep your eye out on our socials for the awesome photoshopped pictures that are going to be dropping soon.
Yeah.
And like,
We don't know
comment,
Wheel
subscribe.
exclusives.
Made on Grace's iPhone.
Yes. iPhone, Google Slides. No
Oh,
photo
yeah.
editing apps needed.
No. I should start doing those on Photoshop. I have Photoshop, you guys.
Obsessed.
You had never offered this before, Sarah.
Yeah, well, I probably won't actually.
If I send you, like,
Follow
here's
through.
the photo that we want, and here are the photos of the faces, would that make it more doable?
It depends on the day and how I'm feeling.
Okay, great.
I love your honesty, Sarah.
Wonderful. Well, you may or may not be seeing a Sarah original. If you do, we'll tag it.
Yeah, we should start giving artists credit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you next
Bye.
week. Bye.